Hey everyone, back again. I want to talk about the NFL and I wanted to talk about, in particular, the Atlanta Falcons, who announced that they are benching Kirk Chains. Kirk Cousins is moving to the bench. He's being benched for Michael Penix Jr. And obviously, the hot take that everyone's saying is it's the right move. It's about time because Kirk has not been playing well. Correct. Kirk has not been playing well. However, if you are Atlanta, I do not understand why you do this now. I get it that in a way you're thinking to yourself, let's salvage the season. But Michael Penix Jr. is a rookie quarterback. And I mean, that's a lot on his shoulders. Not just that, it's not like they're just a quarterback away from winning a championship. This team has other holes in their defense. I mean, the Vikings just lit them up for 41 points 2 weeks ago. So it's not like a team like, let's say, Pittsburgh that's got a top defense that maybe if they had a stud quarterback, if you replace Russell Wilson with Josh Allen, suddenly they're Super Bowl favorites or something like that. No, this is Atlanta. And what you're doing now is you're completely killing the market for Kirk Cousins. And yes, maybe his market was already kind of dwindling, but ultimately, I just can't understand how some of these teams live in the moment in a way and don't think big picture. If you actually back up a little bit and think about this in the grand scheme of things, you already made a mistake essentially by paying Kirk Cousins that much money. You're paying him $45 million this year and $45 million next year pretty much. So you're on the books for that. And then after you gave him the contract, then you drafted Michael Penix Jr. with a high top pick. I think he was the 8th pick in the draft, which was a head scratcher because why did you pay Kirk at that point? And if you're going to pay Kirk at that point, then maybe you could have used that pick on a defensive player that maybe would have helped your defense be better. But instead, you use the 8th pick in the draft on the player that's you're not expecting to play. And if he is going to play, he is playing, replacing your $45 million player. So that dilemma was already kind of weird, kind of strange. So they make that move. And now let's say you have buyer's remorse and you think to yourself, man, we shouldn't have paid Kirk Cousins all this money. We need to find a way to move on from Kirk Cousins. Well, right now, the fact that he hasn't been playing well, the fact that he looks old, he looks like that Achilles injury was kind of the end of his career in a way because, his body doesn't seem the same. And, now you've killed his market. Let's say it doesn't matter what Michael Penix Jr. does now for the next, 3 remaining games of the season. Even if he plays solid, whatever, you have just diminished the value for who is trading for Kirk Cousins. Who now is going to trade for him? And I'm not saying they would have traded for him or anything if he would have, stayed in there and played average. But you at least try to maybe take the chance that you could, earlier this season, he had a 500-yard game. He beat Tampa twice this season. And that offense was humming. So if you can get that offense back, let's say for the final 3 games, which at least is a slim chance, but it's some chance, maybe then you could sell somebody on Kirk Cousins. Somebody maybe that doesn't get, let's say the Giants, or they'll probably get the top pick in the draft, but let's say the Titans don't get a good quarterback and they're looking for somebody and whatever. You add something to entice Atlanta and you do a swap and they get Kirk Cousins like for a year or two until they can find a rookie quarterback. Maybe that's the team that bites and you luckily get out of the Kirk Cousins deal. But right now, what you just did is, I feel like stabbed yourself twice. You did it when you paid him the first time, then pivoted and got a rookie quarterback. And now it doesn't matter what Michael Penix Jr. does because he's going to be your starter next year. And you just revealed that essentially, which everybody knew anyway, because Kirk wasn't playing that great and he didn't have a good season. But now with Penix, everyone knows you're going to be desperate to get rid of Kirk Cousins. And why would they take on that contract? You might have to be the one that attaches a pick to get rid of that contract. And, ultimately the hope was, hey, you know what? Let's say, like I said, slim chance. But if he played solid these last few games, maybe we get a desperate team that, convinces themselves, hey, maybe we get Kirk for the back end of his career. It's just at that point, ultimately, next year would be only 1 year of guaranteed money left on his deal. So let's just pay him this year. We have the cap space. maybe we can compete, and we try to groom our third-round quarterback to learn under Kirk Cousins and see if he can be the guy moving forward. And if not, and if we stink, then we draft our QB of the future in 2026. But again, I know everyone's all up about it and all excited about it, and they think it's the right move. Good job, Atlanta. Atlanta's fighting for a playoff spot, and you're putting that pressure on the rookie quarterback. If he brings them to the playoffs, somehow they surpass Tampa Bay, which really this is the week. Ultimately, Tampa, this is the week that there's maybe a slim chance that Tampa could slip up because they play the Cowboys, who have been playing pretty solid football. But after that, the Buccaneers have 2 relatively easy games. And you're a game behind them. So you have to win out and hope that they lose a game. So it's unlikely anyway. And let's say this is the week, that they drop it, then you can say you have a chance to make the playoffs. But if they win this week, you already don't really have a chance to make the playoffs. Obviously you can't count on them losing or winning their last 2 games, but they play, I'm pretty sure, Carolina and I think the Saints. So 2 of the worst teams in the league. So again, I just don't understand some of the decisions that get made there, but ultimately we'll see. They should and know better than me, but from an outsider's perspective, that just really, really confuses me why they do that. And I just feel like it's like the cool thing to do, the sexy move to make, to put in Michael Penix Jr. in. But everybody's just forgetting that mistake they made by paying Kirk all that money is now going to get harder to move on from because you benched them with 3 games to go. So who is going to want a benched mid to late 30s quarterback with a huge cap hit? So I don't know how this will work out. We shall see. And if anything, you're hurting your team for next year because if nobody does trade for him, you're going to be trying to build a roster with a guy on there that's not playing because Michael Penix Jr. is starting, making over $40 million. So good luck to y'all. So ultimately, a very exciting week 15 in the NFL. I thought some of the big winners were Tampa, actually, because they went to LA and destroyed the Chargers. That was kind of a surprise. I did not see that coming. And a loser of the week, not because I don't even think it's the team's fault, man. But, man, if you're a Lions fan, that's got to be crushing. This team, in my opinion, was the best team in the NFL. I think this was their year to win the Super Bowl. I think they have been playing like it. I think they, when healthy, are for sure the favorites, the best team in the league. But those injuries are piling up. David Montgomery's now out for the year as well. The defensive tackle's out for the year. And a guy in their secondary as well. And they just have so many guys injured. And you suddenly went from, feeling like, all right, we got some injuries, but, if we beat Buffalo, we're pretty much securing the NFC North. We're going to get a first-round bye. Now you lose to Buffalo and you lose 3 key players on top of all the injuries you already had. I still think they're scary. I still think they're going to be, tough to deal with because for as crazy as Dan Campbell is, I still think he's a good motivator and a coach that his team wants to play for. But that's tough. It's a tough week for them. We'll see how they bounce back. This week they play at Chicago, so that helps. But yeah, we'll see how that goes down the stretch. I'll do my top 5 teams in the league currently that I think. And in my rankings, I'm going to have number 1. I got to start with Buffalo. Obviously, they're the ones that went into Detroit and really, played a hell of a game. Their offense was humming. And yeah, they played well. That defense scares me. Defense wins championships for a reason. So I don't really like the way their defense has been playing. But you got to put them at number 1 right now. Number 2, I'm not just going to pick somebody else just because, it's the hot take to do or it's, that's what everybody's doing. No, Kansas City. They're the back-to-back Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes is hurt, but he's not going to be out for the playoffs. So even if this week they drop a game, it's all good. Their defense is legit. Defense wins championships. Don't sleep on the Chiefs. Everybody's over here out on them because they've been winning close games. Put some respect on the Chiefs. Back-to-back champs for a reason. The Buffalo did beat them head-to-head this year. That's why I put them first. And but Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. Don't sleep on the Chiefs. That's my number 2 team. I'll put Detroit at number 3. Obviously, they would be way up there if they were healthy. But, they might even start dropping lower because of all those injuries. Sucks. That's just the way the NFL goes, man. But yeah, I'll put them at number 3. At number 4, I'll put Philly, definitely. I think Philadelphia's playing some great ball. They've won like 11 in a row. And I just think that they have, the things that win in the playoffs, which are defense and being able to travel and run the ball, they do. And they do very well. Saquon Barkley, not going to win MVP, but he is, an MVP candidate. Their offensive line is pretty good. So I think Philly's number 4. And then number 5, I'll put the Vikings. But you can really put anybody. The thing with the Vikings is they haven't proven it. Kevin O'Connell is a great coach, but they have to get it done in the playoffs to earn that respect. So I would put them at number 5. Trying to be not biased here as a Vikings fan, so I'm putting them at 5. And yeah, we'll see how the season unfolds. 3 more weeks to go, and then it's the playoffs. So super exciting, and we'll see how it all unfolds. Until then, I'll be back with another episode soon.